Welcome back to another video. I'm currently anchored off of the island Elutha and been here the past day or two. We've had a lot of thunderstorms coming through, rain, lightning, all that good stuff. But today it is finally cleared up. If you can see, it's beautiful out. The water, I can see the bottom again. It's nice and clear and sunny. So I'm going to get the dinghy loaded up with my spear pole and snorkel gear. And we're gonna see if we can't head over to this other island here. Wind's coming out of the north, so the chop is coming at me. This side's covered some waves against the rock, so hopefully over there be a little more protected. We can do some snorkeling and see if we can't find a couple fish. The winds have shifted, the weather's looking good. We're gonna get the anchor pulled up and head up to just about 5 miles north is called Current Cut between this island and Elutha, and it is known for having quite a fast current rip through there. They say it can be up to like 7 knots, so we're hopefully timing it just right. That's why I'm killing a little time talking to you here, and it should be in about 2 hours. It should be slack tide at high tide. I think that's what you call that, and so we can get through that channel, cut, and then we'll head on to there's a harbor off Alistown, and I think it's like Big Hatchet, a lot of big names today. That's where we'll be headed there, and hopefully hang out a day or two. It looks like a nice protected anchorage spot. So I'm about a mile out from the cut, the entrance to it. Slack tide should be in 20 minutes, so timing it just about right here. You get the ominous storm here on the horizon though. It wasn't on the forecast this morning. The radar is showing, should be moving north of me, so it shouldn't be a concern. But then again, kind of in the Wild West out here, and so far all the weather services I've used have been pretty spotty on reliability, so could be getting doused. If so, I think where we're headed is fairly shallow all the way across. If it gets too bad, we could just drop anchor wherever we are, ride it out, and get back on our way. But like I said, coming up on the cut here, this should be fun. Looks like it's not too busy. Everyone else has already gone through with the tide, so I'm kind of the last man standing here, but all is going well. I got the engine on just till we get through the cut, just in case something goes wrong or the wind gets squirrely. I feel like it's safe instead of sailing through. And then as soon as we get on the other side, we'll get the mainsail brought up as well, and we'll just sail the rest of the way. I think it should be another 17 miles, so not too bad of a sailing today. Well, it's pretty crazy how much wind the front can bring in with it. I was sailing along just 2 or 3, or maybe 3.5 knots, and all of a sudden I go to tack, and at the same time, as my sheets are let out for the jib, so it's completely loose, I get hit by a huge gust of wind, and with the loose sheet horizontal to the wind or perpendicular, the boat just heeled over a ridiculous amount. And so good thing the sheets were undone, otherwise, you know, that could have been bad. But like I said, it looks like we're gonna miss most of the rain. I'm still trying to get through this cut as quick as I can right now, so we can be on the I think called the leeward side of the island, away from the wind and all this swell. But kind of fun. It's cooled off a bit, free air conditioning. I'm surprised everyone else is coming through the cut. They're going right into the storm, so that would not be fun, but So far we are doing just fine here. You can see it's a narrow cut, but at least room for 2 boats to go through. So the winds died down a little bit more than I was expecting. We've been out here like what, 5 or 6 hours now, only going 20 nautical miles total. I've been doing like 2.5, 3 knots the past couple hours going downwind, but I'm still having a great time. It's a beautiful day. We are right here at the entrance to the cut to Hatchet Bay Harbor. That's what it's called. And from what I'm reading online, they say it's a fairly narrow cut. I think they say it's like 75 feet wide, and there's quite a bit of rocks on each side. We've got a nice little bit of swell too out here. So I dropped my sails. We're gonna motor up in it, take our time, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and hail on the radio too, let them know I'm coming in, just because it's only wide enough for 1 boat. So you'd hate to have someone else trying to leave at the same time, play bumper boats in there. So wish me luck. This is Sailing Vessel Rambler, Sailing Vessel Rambler. I am currently approaching Hatchet Bay Harbor and will be entering the cuts here in about 5 minutes. If there is any outbound traffic that is conflicting, I'll be standing by on channel 16. Hopefully no one's trying to exit. We have made it here to the anchorage. I think it's 30 feet of water. So I've got 150 foot of chain out, which is all my chain and the snubber on it. Riding well so far. Been here maybe half an hour. Gonna hang around a little longer, keep an eye on things, and then I think we will get the dinghy tossed in the water, motor over to the public dock. This is editing Damon here. I forgot to mention that the prior day I had decided to go through the outboard again, and I had a spare carburetor in my supplies here on board. Ended up just caving in, put that on the outboard, as well as a new spark plug I had and a fuel filter. Figured I'd go through what I had, replace it, because it was giving me such troubles, and as you'll see in the following clips, ever since then she's been working great. So I've been here in Hatchet Bay a couple days now. I gotta say it's quickly becoming one of my favorite stops. It's real protected in here. There's a bunch of nice folks. Now that the dinghy works again, I can just hop in, head to shore a couple times a day. There's a free dinghy dock, and then there is, I think it's called, let's see, Boaters Haven Bar and Grill. Good food there, fairly cheap. Moses in the store, real helpful with information. I've done some exploring of the island, met a couple folks, stopped by the Baptist church yesterday, attended there with them, which was fun to meet some people. And today, gonna try to run some errands and see if we can't find a few unique things on the island. I tried to rent a car. I was gonna go to the north side of Elutha and explore, but you gotta be 25, which is crazy. I don't know, a little irks me a little bit, but I guess that's just the way it is. But we'll see if we can't find some things to do here instead. So made it back here to the dinghy. Ran all over town trying to find a place to get some forms printed. I've got to get a medical checkup for upcoming opportunity, and went to the doctor's office, and of course I forget my passport and stuff. They need to verify me. So stopped by the grocery store, filled up the backpack with a couple of items, and we're gonna run back to the boat, grab the passport, come back and see if we can't get the checkup done. So after a couple hours waiting there for the doctor, I get in and looks at the forms. He says I got to get further tested. He can't do there, and I have to do that on the north side of the island. So back to trying to find a car. I ask around. They say there's a man here down this street that might be able to help me out. So we'll see. So I found my man, Daniel. He's got a car. He said I can come pick it up tomorrow at 8 in the morning, and we should be good to do some exploring, as well as stop by the doctors up there, see if we can't get all checked out. So I was perusing Navionics just there on the boat, and I noticed there was a little mark, something interesting to check out, and it was this cave. I've dinghied into the cave here. It looks like I can go a bit further. It's crazy cool in here. I'm afraid of, since I don't have I've got a soft bottom dinghy, so I'm afraid to take it much further. Cut a hole in the bottom, so I'm gonna try to drop anchor here. We'll leave the dinghy and I'll get the spotlight. They claim it goes all the way through the whole island. So we'll see how far we can go. We're at low tide too, so we gotta keep an eye on that We should have plenty though to get out of here, but pretty freaking sweet dinghying up through a cave here in the islands. So I think I've got the dinghy tied up here well enough. Looped around this cool handle in the rock here, which is floating in the middle, and then all the way back here, I don't know if you can see it right there, the anchor is tied to the stern. So it's floating right here. We'll see if it's, hopefully it stays off the rock. These guys are sharp, no good on the inflatable, but look at that, isn't that beautiful? And then it goes back supposedly fairly far. So got my lantern, headlamp. We're gonna go do some spelunking here in Elutha. So I think this is the path that keeps going. I can feel the wind coming through the tunnel. I think you gotta crawl most of the way. It looks pretty narrow and should have wore my jeans. It's gonna hurt the old knees. We'll make it quick though too, because it's low tide. It doesn't look like tide comes up this high, but I'd hate to find out this way. Well, it'd be nice to see if we can at least see the sunlight. I think that's where it keeps going, but it's quite narrow. And probably not the best thing to do alone either. Sorry, Mom. Well, we made it. It was pretty narrow, but I'd say it was worth it. Some sort of old engine out here. Look at all this trash. There's a huge mooring float there though. Things are very expensive. It looks deflated, but anyways. Nice view of the mangroves. I can hear the restaurant just on the other side here. I don't think there's really anything up there to see. So I guess this is where we turn around and get to crawl all the way back. That's the hole we came through. Oh, look at that, a cockroach. Lovely. So I've stumbled across some cave lobster and cave crab. Good size. I think it's a stone crab. I'm not gonna mess with these guys. They look kind of small, but there is life back here. A few little jellyfish too. Get some more cave lobster, and now cave little fish. Maybe minnows, yellowtail. I don't know what they are, but it's beautiful out this way too. Just for fun. So just made it back to the boat after checking out the cave. Super cool stop there. Definitely recommend it if you're in the area. But I forgot, on my to-do list is some laundry. I did some things in the bucket, but didn't feel like doing the towels, things like that. So there's a laundromat nearby. I think I saw another dinghy on shore right by it. So we're gonna see if we can get over there and do a wash and dry. They close in 4 hours, I think, maybe 3 hours. So cutting it really close, but we'll try to be speedy and see what we can do there. Might be a little bit of a walk, but hopefully not too far. So I'm walking back to the dinghy now, got my clean laundry here, and met a lady there at the laundromat who was from the church I went to on Sunday. So that's one thing I noticed is kind of nice. Ever since then, I've been meeting people all around town that recognize me. Yeah, you're Damon. You know, we saw you there. Good way to get to know a lot of people. I was waiting at the doctor's office, met a gentleman there, and the grocery store, met another gentleman. I was even walking and past a restaurant, and a man stuck his head out. He's like, "Hey Damon, how's it going?" So good way to get to know people in this small community here. And wrapped up here. It's cooling off quickly. Just feeling great. We'll see if we can find the dinghy again and get back over to Rambler and tuck in for the night. Well, it's been an interesting turn of events today. I arrived at 8 o'clock at the car rental gentleman, and he had the car ready, and then he says, "Well, how old are you, kid?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm 21. And he said, "Well, I should ask you yesterday, can't rent me the car." And I was like, "Oh, great," you know. But then he said he also runs a taxi. He was driving a couple gentlemen down to the airport, and the town I'm in now, I don't remember, I think it's North Point, is not too far away from the airport. So he said I could just tag along with them, and then he dropped me off here. He said to get a ride back, it's $100, which is how much the car rental was. But the gentleman in the car, they frequently visit here from Canada. They said it's a real nice area and island, and they recommended I try to hitchhike my way back. So I've Stopped at the doctor. I got checked out there. Didn't have to do the blood work too. That was a whole thing. Apparently the other doctor didn't quite know what was going on, but this lady helped me out, filled the forms out real quick, and now I have the rest of the day to try to get back. I think it's about 40 kilometers or more, and maybe an hour drive. So we'll see if we can hitch a couple rides between towns on the way back. Here to Governor's Harbor. I had a gentleman named Carl. He was on his way to work here. He's a police officer. Saw me walking, gave me a ride this far, and now I gotta try to see if I can catch another ride. Well, I was able to hitch another ride from a gentleman who was headed this way. He's actually going to the airport. Said he had a couple extra minutes though. Took me a little further up the road to the grocery store, so big thanks to him. Got to chat about Trump and tariffs, which was kind of interesting to hear from another country's perspective. But it's one thing that's been interesting down here. About every restaurant and grocery store always has the American news on, and there's Trump, and that's all they talk about. I've even seen a lot of Bohemians wearing the Trump hats too, so interesting how our politics spreads that far. But we're back walking again. This stretch of the road is pretty quiet though, so could be walking a while. I got some snacks and food just in case. We'll see how far we can make it this time. Well, we have made it back here to the boat. Survived the hitchhiking trip. Everyone's real nice around here, and that was a big help getting myself back to town. But I have got my paperwork just about wrapped up here. There's a lady in town that apparently has a printer, so I'm going to see if once I get this finished I can track her down, get these scanned to my email, and then we will probably try to stop by the boat restaurant here and grab ourselves a burger tonight. Well, we made it back to the boat here. Had a nice evening there on shore. Met a couple cool folks too. That's gonna wrap it up here for this week's video though. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Big shout out to all the Patreon subscribers, everyone who's been helping contribute through the comments and PayPal. Really appreciate all of you all to help. Thank you for your support. I've been writing your all's names on the back of my boat, kind of bring you all along for the adventure in a way. But that'll wrap it up here for this week, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's video.